So what do you think happened to the money?
جیمز ولش سرباز گشت بزرگراه کارولینای جنوبیه که برنده جایزه برای دستگیری‌های DUI خودش در سالهای 2015 و 2019 شد. اما کمی بعدتر بیگناهی اون زیر سوال میره. همه چیز از یک دستگیری ساده در سال 2021 شروع شد و بعد نزدیک به $3000 از مدارک و شواهد گم شد. در این ویدیو شما رو با پرونده سرباز ایالتی جیمز ولش آشنا میکنم و با هم تصمیم میگیریم که آیا اون گناهکار بوده یا نه. در 29 ژوئیه 2021 جان هالیدی تحت تاثیر مشروبات الکلی در حال رانندگی به سمت جاده پیرسون بود که به گشت بزرگراه کارولینای جنوبی میرسه. اولین سربازی که در صحنه حضور داشت جیمز ولش بود که ادعا کرد بوی الکل و ماریجوانا رو حس کرده و از اون خواسته از ماشینش پیاده بشه. ولش سوار ماشین هالیدی شد تا اون رو از جاده خارج کنه. سرباز دیگه‌ای به نام ویل بیکر هم شروع به گشتن ماشین هالیدی کرد و یک کیسه مواد مخدر روی صندلی جلو و 2 کیسه پول نقد در عقب پیدا کرد. بحث چند صد دلار نبود، فقط با یه نگاه به نظر می رسید که صدها هزار دلاره. پس افسر پلیس در مورد مقدار پولها از اون میپرسه.
Is that yours? Your money? That's somebody else's money? He's transporting them.
Yeah, just somebody asked me to do him a favor.
And they paying you to move it.
افسران پلیس بعداً هالیدی رو از ماشین پیاده میکنن و ولش با 3 کیسه به دفتر یکی از نیروها میره، جایی که اونها رو برای مدارک آماده میکردن. اون هالیدی رو با بیکر تنها گذاشت. بیکر وقتی در حال گشتن هالیدی بود مقداری پول نقد دیگه پیدا میکنه که باید به عنوان شواهد جمع‌آوری میشد. اون فوراً با ولش تماس میگیره که با این پول چیکار کنه. ولش کیسه ها رو عقب ماشین گشت خودش گذاشت و به دفتر سامتر یکی از نیروها برگشت. اون بعداً گفت که 3 کیسه پول نقد از داخل ماشین هالیدی جمع کرده و اونها رو در خودروی خودش در جاده گذاشته، اما فقط 2 تا کیسه رو تا داخل دفتر برده بود. تکنسین شواهد CHP سرجوخ متنیکس نیز برای ملاقات با سربازا در اون شب راهی دفتر گشت زنی شد. مسئولیت نیکس این بود که پول نقد رو به مرکز اسناد و مدارک پاترول در کلمبیا برگردونه و مطمئن بشه که پولها به درستی شمرده شدن. افسران پول نقد رو در چند دسته جدا کردند. بعد اسکناس‌ها رو به گونه‌ای روی هم چیدن که بتونن مقدار دلارها رو بشمرن. برگه آماری که افسران در اون شب نوشتن 4899 اسکناس رو نشون میداد که هر کدوم باید شمرده میشدن. سیاست گشتزنی افسران رو ملزم میکرد تا حساب کتابا رو انجام بدن. پس نیکس شمارش دوم رو انجام میده. اون و ولش به این نتیجه رسیدن که 4899 اسکناس وجود داره، در حالی که در مجموع 110482 دلار وجود داشت. بعد نیکس دفتر گشت رو ترک کرد. اون پول نقد رو در 3 کیسه جداگونه قرار داد و پول رو به CEF برد و در گاف صندوق گذاشت. در 3 آگوست یک مأمور گشت پول رو به بانک برد تا اون رو بشمرن و یک چک رو به صندوقدار دولت فدرال تحویل بده. بانک متوجه اختلاف 3140 دلاری بین اون چیزی که ولش و نیکس در برگه آمار خودشون نوشتن و مقدار واقعی پول شد. نیکس اون روز به دفتر کاپیتان خودش احضار میشه، همون روزی که روند باز کردن تحقیقات جنایی آغاز شد. بعد از اینکه اون احضار شد، وقایع شب رو دقیقاً همونطور که در ویدیو و فیلم دوربین داشبورد به تصویر کشیده شده بود توضیح داد.
I counted all the ones and wrote them on my tally sheet. And I started on the 5s and kept going until I got to the 20s. Within all of the cash that was let out, the $20 bills was by far the most we had to count in number. But they were still counting the 20s. Corporal Welsh about somewhere in the middle while they were counting the 20s, told Baker to let him type the statement, and he was going through the field sobriety process and doing the breathalyzer and all that good stuff. So Cam, keep
It's
going.
okay. Well, you've established his first name as Cam, so
Yes.
you're good. You
Okay.
can make notes.
Okay. So Cam basically wanted to help him out with the statement because he knew more of the in-vehicle particulars that Baker did not know. This, from what I gathered, Baker was dealing with the DUI. He was not dealing with the car. He had to concentrate on him. So Cam wanted to help him out with the statement part and where the cash was, what was going on in the vehicle, and as far as that on the statement portion of it. So when Cam started typing on the computer, Baker got up and helped him record to make tally. I was still working on my own personal one. So just trying to let you get. So when I started counting, or when I got to the portion where I was going to start counting 20s, I asked them which stack they had finished with. I'll start on that one. That way we're not hitting each other and messing up each other's tally. So they said, okay, we're done with these. So I took these and put them on my desk, which was separate from where they were sitting, because I wanted to not get involved with them, they not get involved with me. And I started counting. And when I got done with my stack of 20s, I said, did y'all separate these out and know how many you had here? Yes. How many do you have? I don't remember exact numbers, but we were off. And I was like, my head dropped. Because I know it took me almost an hour to count the stack of 20s that I was counting. And I said, we're already off. Let's stop.
Yeah.
We got to back up and punt.
Now you said you're off, so did they have more or less than you?
I
or
don't
you-
remember.
That's okay.
I do not remember. I just knew we were off. And I knew we had more than twice as many to go.
Right.
So we were just going to get worse and worse and worse as we went on. So that was about the time Cam was started back counting again. So at that point, it was 3 of them counting and 1 of me counting. Okay. And it was probably getting close to, I guess, about 1 a.m., 2 a.m. area. We've been there for a while counting. So Corporal Welsh and I decided, look, all right, let's figure out a way that we can stack these 20s up and try to get an accurate count, because we can't leave here until we're both in agreement that this is what we got. So what we did is basically start over on the 20s. The 100s were right, the 50s were right, the 10s were right, the 5s and the 1s were right. So what we did is we took the whole stack of 20s and everybody grabbed some. Okay.
Everybody being who?
All 4 of us.
Okay.
We put all the 20s in 50 counts of 50 bills. And we had them laid out on both sides of that big long partition, on the desk on the side by the window. Well, yeah, it was by the other computer desk over here on the far side. And then the desk I was working on, we had stacks of 50 on that.
از طرفی اون خودش رو به عنوان یک پایبند به قوانین به تصویر میکشه. کسی که میخواست مطمئن بشه که شمارش درسته. این میتونه به این معنی باشه که سعی میکنه از سوء ظن دوری کنه.
Once we got all that separated out, I think there were 2 stacks on the computer desk that were not quite at 50, and on my desk I had a short stack that wasn't quite 50. We started counting stacks, and I had my cell phone calculator and I was doing the math on that. And then Cam went back and counted his 50 bill stacks. And then of course we manually counted the short stacks and got a number. And we were both in agreement at that time that I believe it was 4301 was the total amount that we had. Bills, 4,301 $20 bills.
Right.
Yes. He and I both were in agreement. We signed our tally sheets, and then I took that cash and I put it in 500 $20 increments and banded them up. And within that, I had some evidence bags in my little go bag that I could take on seizures and stuff. That it was the largest evidence bags that we have, and 2 of the bags were full of the 20s, but nothing but 20s, and the other bag had the hundreds, 50s, 10s, 5s, and 1s in it.
So you had a total of 3 bags.
3 bags. And again, make sure everybody was good to go. Everybody's planted their flag. That's the number we're going with. And I took that cash, put it in my patrol vehicle, and drove to Columbia to Shop Road.
All right, so you leave Sumter and you go to Columbia.
Yes.
Where did you place the money when you left Sumter and went to Columbia?
In my back seat.
Were the bags sealed, the evidence bags,
Yes.
were they sealed?
Yes. I signed the bag and dated it, but I did not sign the seal. Again, hindsight's always 20/20.
It's all right, so you signed actually on the front of the bag or
Yes,
the back of the bag?
On the front of the bag with a date. I think at that time it was right at 3 a.m., so it would have been on the 29th, July 29th.
بدون بازشماری و بدون چک اون به سادگی شمارش نهایی رو که دقیقاً $110,482 گزارش شده بود تحویل داد. این احتمال وجود داره که این یکی از اشتباهات افسران باشه، چون اون ادعا میکرد که 20 ها رو میشماره و تقریباً به یاد داره که این مبلغ طبق برگه آمار بالای $86,020 بوده. بازجو باید بدونه که خطا در کجا ممکنه رخ داده باشه، پس بیشتر در مورد روند شمارش میپرسه. اگر به جدول زمانی نگاه کنیم، شمارش در شب دستگیری که 29 ژوئیه بوده صورت گرفته. اما 2 روز بعد که اول آگوست بود، ولش یک کیسه پول نقد در پشت ماشین گشت خودش پیدا کرد. اینکه آیا اون کیسه عمدن یا اشتباهاً در اونجا رها شده بود، کاملاً به نحوه مدیریت اون بستگی داره.
So I was scared. The following day, I called my stepdad, who's the sheriff of Clarendon County. I always call him for advice and stuff, and we sat there and talked about it, and he told me, he said, just call Paige, get this straight, But it was later on that evening when I talked to him, and so I said, well, I'm working tomorrow. I said, I'll go in before work, and I'm gonna call Paige and go by and see her and figure out what the best way to get this turned in with the least amount of damage to me. Well, didn't have time because this would be the 3rd. That morning, I got up, had to go do a small little job. I have a plumbing and home repair business. I'm a contractor. So I had to run into town, take care of something. It took about 30 minutes, and I was gonna go home and go back to sleep. Well, anyway, when I was on my way home that morning, Nick's called me, and he told me that they were missing $3,000 or over $3,000 from the final count. Or they took the money to the bank, and the bank says it was only like 107, something like that, and we counted like 110. So I said, dude, I don't know, have a clue what's going on with that. I said, but I just went ahead and told him then. I said, listen, I found an evidence bag of money in my car. I said, it's not $3,000. I said, so it has, and it wasn't even counted. This fell in between the briefcase and my back seat. I said, so it has nothing to do with the missing money. I said, but tell me what I need to do to get this turned into evidence. Nick's told me then that I needed to contact my chain of command, which I did. I called Sergeant DeBose. Then I called Lieutenant Dan back, and
Dan back.
D-A-N-B-A-C-K.
Do you know Lieutenant?
So then I called them. I was already getting dressed because Matt told me, he said, just come on up to Central Evidence. And so I was en route to Central Evidence, went ahead and got dressed because I had to work that night anyway. And spoke with Dan back and all them. I got to Central Evidence, talked with Matt. Matt told me that I needed to go to Troop 1 headquarters and turn the evidence in over there. So I went over there, turned the evidence into Lieutenant Danback and Captain Chris Shelton. They counted it. It came up to be over $800.
Danback and Shelton counted the money?
They did, in front of me. It was $894. After that, we honestly sat around and waited a while, and then Major Patterson, that's Everett Patterson, showed up and gave Lieutenant Shelton, or Captain Shelton, a piece of paper and he read it to me and notified me that I was suspended.
پولی که اون در این ماشین پیدا کرد $894 بود، نه $3000. چیزی که اینجا معنی نداره اینه که اون پول را 1 آگوست پیدا کرده. اما 2 آگوست سر کار میاد و به فرماندهی خودش در مورد این پول هیچ اطلاعی نمیده. طبق سوابق گشت اون فقط 1 شیفت کار میکرد و با گروهبان 2 روز ملاقات نکرد تا در مورد شواهد به اون بگه. در 3 آگوست درست قبل از اینکه شیفت خودش رو آغاز کنه، نیکس با اون تماس میگیره و میگه که $3000 گم شده. ولش به اون میگه من نمیدونم چه خبره. اون 2 روز و نیم کامل این واقعیت رو پنهان کرد که پول بیشماری در ماشینش باقی مونده. اما شواهد رو در 3 آگوست به سرپرستان خودش گزارش میده. همچنین جالبه بدونین که اون به جای افسر مافوق خودش مستقیما با پدر ناتنی خودش تماس گرفت. شاید کمک اون رو میخواست تا از یک موقعیت بد نجات پیدا کنه. این چیزیه که بازجو هم به اون رسیده بود.
Instead of calling your stepdad, why didn't you call Paige on Monday?
I don't know. Just freaked out. Just dumb on my part. Scared to death.
Did you take any of that money?
Out
of that seizure that y'all had?
Absolutely.
From the time you left that checkpoint to the time you went to post A, and from the time you were at post A by yourself, did you take any of that money?
No, ma'am.
Do you think anybody else had the opportunity to take
Absolutely not. And one thing I will say, because I have been thinking of 100 different ways of how this could have happened. We were all together. I never even walked to my private, personal office the entire time we were there. Never left the room. Nobody left. We all sat in the common area, I guess you could call it. Our uniforms were tight. I mean, I can barely put keys in my pocket in my uniform. There's no fitting a cell phone in your pocket, no nothing. It would have been very, very obvious if anybody would have grabbed a couple of 3 stacks or more than 3 stacks, stuffed it in their pockets.
So what do you think happened to the money?
I have no clue.
Do you think it's possible that y'all did not count the money correctly?
I think we should have done a much better job of counting.
Do you think it's possible anybody took the money? Let me just ask that for clarification.
There's no way.
Okay.
I mean, everybody that I have dealings with, I'll tell you, Matt, I'd bet my job on him. He wouldn't take a penny. My 2 boys that were with us, Baker and Riker, they wouldn't take a penny. I know I don't need it. I mean, not just saying. I mean, I work hard. I have a plumbing business that I make triple what I make with highway patrol. I mean, I just don't need. I've got almost 11 years in. I wouldn't need that. Matt's he's got a ton of time. He's got more time than I do. He did my background investigation back when I started. Yeah. I mean, he and I mean, we're not. I consider him a dear friend. I mean, we don't hang out socially. I only see him when we're in uniform. But I mean, he's a great guy. I trust him with my life. I trust him with that money, and the state should too. I mean, it's got to be a miscount.
Would you be willing to do a polygraph?
Absolutely.
ولش در 13 آگوست و دوباره در 31 آگوست برای تست احضار شد و دروغ در هر 2 نتایج تست نشون داده میشه. تحقیقات در 1 اکتبر تکمیل شد و گفتن که شواهد قابل توجهی برای پیگرد قانونی این افراد وجود نداره. اونها اصرار داشتن که این 4 افسر وظایف خودشون رو به صورت درست انجام ندادن و چندین قانون رعایت نشده که منجر به اشتباه در شمارش پولهای ضبط شده. پرونده به چیپ فینی وکیل شهرستان سامتر فرستاده شد تا مشخص شه که آیا باید این اتهامات به اونها وارد بشه یا نه. در 21 اکتبر ولش نامه‌ای از مدیر SCDPS رابرت وودز دریافت کرد که در اون به اون اطلاع داده بود که تحقیقات داخلی گشتزنی تخلفات متعددی را علیه اون پیدا کرده. تحقیقات نشون میداد که ولش در شمارش و مستندسازی شواهد توقیف شده مرتکب اشتباه شده. ولش از شواهد و مدارک سوء استفاده کرده و پول رو به طور نامناسب در ماشین گشت خودش ذخیره کرده بود. اما مهمتر از اون ولش با ریستارت کردن تلفن همراه خودش اسناد رو از بین برد. بله درسته. پس از پایان بازجویی و شروع تحقیقات از اون خواسته میشه که تلفن همراه خودش رو به اداره تحویل بده که در کمال تعجب گوشی اون به حالت کارخونه برگشته بود. مدیر SCDPS رابرت وودز در تاریخ 21 اکتبر برای اون نوشت که شما از اپراتور ما خواستید تلفن همراه شما رو بهتون بده تا اطلاعات تماس‌های شخصی خودتون رو یادداشت کنید. اما شما لیست مخاطبین خودتون رو پاک کردید تا اون شماره ها رو قبل از تحویل دادن به ما حذف کنید. در نهایت تعلیق ولش از 3 آگوست تا 21 اکتبر تایید شد. چون گشت به اشتباه خودش اعتراف میکنه. با این حال عواقب کار اون به همین جا ختم نمیشه. ولش دچار تنزل رتبه شد. با وجود اینکه این $3000 هرگز پیدا نشد، اما اونها اون رو با حذف $11219 از چک حقوقی اون پوشش دادن. در همین حال سرجوخ مت نیکس هم درگیر شبکه تحقیقاتی شد، چون اون هم متهم به عدم رعایت دقیق رویه‌های شمارش پول و اسناد و مدارک مشخص شده توسط سیاست SCHP بود. اتهامات به همین جا ختم نمیشه. ویسپرز نشون میده که نیکس پا رو فراتر گذاشته و پول نقد ضبط شده رو برای منافع شخصی به جیب زده. نیکس سهم خود را از حقوق معوقه دوره تعلیق خودش دریافت کرد و بهایی که برای رفتار نادرست خودش پرداخت کرد کسر 8 ساعت از دستمزد اون بود. اگرچه ولش و نیکس هر دو به خدمت در گشت بزرگ را ادامه میدن، اما برای همیشه سنگینی این اقدامات انضباطی رو تحمل میکنند. افسر برنده جایزه که به عنوان یک قهرمان در نظر گرفته میشد، اکنون به عنوان دزدی که تنزل رتبه گرفته شناخته میشه.